Welcome wherever you may be to the high hills of Utah, where another MLS Next Pro match week crests into its Sunday peak tonight. The action is reaching boiling temperature this time of the year, and the soft edges of the table are rounding into focus. On this night, Real Monarchs and Houston Dynamo 2 take to the stage, both with room to rise in the Western Conference. Howdy folks, I'm Peyton Gallagher. Real Monarchs renewed, playing with much verve, much energy, and having scored 9 goals in their last 3 games at the direction of Mark Lowry for Houston Dynamo 2. The objective is to get back on their feet after being pummeled in the midweek 4-1 by Minnesota United 2. As for the lineups for these two squads, looking at the 11s chosen by both these managers, starting with Real Monarchs, the home side at the front end. Of course, it's Jesus Perea, who's in fine form, having scored 2 goals last time out to propel his side to a midweek victory over Tacoma 2-1 on the day. Back in goal is Max Kirkfleet, who will be a sentinel between the posts for this Monarchs outfit that continues to look for every advantage they can get in their climb up the Western Conference standings. As for Houston Dynamo 2 and Marcelo Santos, the group chosen in this 4-2-3-1, sports Wolf, Barrett, and Viveros at the back, making up plenty of appearances so far this year. Bulma scored the last time out, got that lone goal against Minnesota United 2. And of course at the front end, Steven Anor is always a lethal option leading the line. Off the right side, you'll see Leo Guito in action today as he makes a cameo. Both these squads stretched thin at both ends with the Gold Cup in action. Senior rosters have been picked apart a bit, players on international duty. So the chosen few pulled up to the senior ranks, as well as the academy playoffs also in action in Tennessee that have pulled at rosters from the bottom as well. Both squads, though, relatively fully staffed, as much as you could expect given the conditions. Things unfolding here in the great state of Utah. Houston Dynamo 2 have never lost to Real Monarchs, 5-0 all time. Two teams that find themselves on opposite directions of travel as they enter into this one. Both bouncing back off the midweek, one with much more lift in their step, that being the home side. Once more, it's Peyton Gallagher here with you to take you through the breadth and width of the 90 minutes to come and go. A direct ball over the top. Circling onto it. It's Batoya. That's a throw in to come. Held up in the box. And clashed away by Farnsworth. So sturdy at the back for Mark Lowry. His side looking to dominate the game with the ball. Flipped in behind again, Viveros, who unwinds himself and whacks one into the area. Kirkfleet is there. On the year for Real Monarchs, 4 wins, 4 draws. That not factoring for the penalty decisions to follow. 2 losses, 5 victories, 3 draws, 5 losses for Dynamo 2. Another Route 1 delivery, something to chase down the far flank. The player is pulled up straight away. It's never a pretty picture. Gerald Flores, a seasoned referee, stops the play. Calls for medical attention. Looked like it was Batoya who was bursting away, and you see him pop up with a wobble there. Goes to ground. Hopefully he's all right. Making his 10th start of the year today. Providing an outlet in the early going. Already a pause in play, 2 minutes in. Dynamo switching things up with the white shorts. Often with such a vibrant strip, able to wear all orange whenever they want. Maybe trying to change the equation a little bit following that match against Minnesota United 2. It's a clean and classy Old Navy look for the home side Real Monarchs. Mark Lowry entering his second season with the organization. Optimistic about the free-flowing style of play that they've exhibited in recent weeks. Has been adamant in conversation about allowing players the freedom to explore, and that may be changing things up this year, taking some of the pressure off, making things less rigid in the final third. That's played out to the tune of 9 goals again over the last 3 contests. Unfortunately, Batoya is back up to his feet. Andy Batioha is already given the hook, not taking any chances. Exxon Orzu will enter. The Honduran hungry to make an impact straight away. He gets his first touch immediately. Stabbed out for a throw belonging to Houston. At the end line, grappled out for a corner. Houston asked to dig in and maybe capitalize on the first opportunity straight away. Body circling around the 6-yard box and beyond. Played short. Looking for a better angle to deliver. And it darts out of play for a goal kick. Now with all that talk of freedom and fanciful movement, that really applies in the final third. It's a very drilled approach in progressing the ball for Real Monarchs. This is going to be rehearsed and well-tuned in their build-up section as they spot the outlet upfield. Just gorgeous work on the ball. Owen Anderson, time to turn more than. Wide man's there, it flows into the feet. Mahales, an interior ball now. Ducking infield, and it breaks down at the crucial moment, but kept by Real Monarchs. Snipping in with the tackle. That was Guitel, who gets on the ball again and gives it away. Barea can't break free. The collision is ignored by the center official. Tucked into the center. Farnsworth. Once more, it's Real Monarchs inviting the pressure. Anderson and Farnsworth again. You want to keep an eye on what's going on off the ball in this stage of play. As Real Monarchs hunt for the overloads in the space. This time it's a little bit careless, but out for a throw, taken quickly. The passes rhyme right now for Real Monarchs. Houston will pick and choose their moments to attack and create the traps. Marcelo Santos said he wanted to use the ball against Real Monarchs at times. A chop and a churn into the area. Owen Anderson ultimately unable to work out that last line of defense. Griffin Dillon, a puncturing pass between lines now. At tempo, Real Monarchs. And tilted away. Dynamo Dos digging again. Time to hatch the plan. The timing and tempo of a Swedish wristwatch from Real Monarchs. And just about kept on. All the way back. Kirkfleet. Houston come with numbers. They will vary the pressing approach based on the opponent and the period in the game. Monarchs use that direct delivery, and finally, Houston have a chance to get a bite of the ball. Here's a look at the contact, and yeah, you're not getting away with that. A stiff arm from Barea. 3 goals on the year. He's made 7 appearances with the senior side in 2025. Once more coming off a brace against Tacoma. That got a little bit nervy, but the flag is up to bail out Real Monarchs. %70% of the early possession inside the first 10 minutes belonging to the home team. And in high heat, intense conditions, running and chasing all day will be an exhaustive task for Dynamo. Get a chance for some respite with the ball. Crushing tackle put in. And snatched back by Real Monarchs. This is hypnotic. Anderson wiggles away. Can't split 2 defenders. Well won by Barrett. Barrett. Building out of that customary back 3. We'll shuffle into a 4-2-3-1 at times defensively. But this is at senior level the way Dynamo choose to play. Expansive, enjoyable, and energetic as they charge into the final third. What a pass that is. Settling touch in behind. And breezing wide for a goal kick. Joshua Bulma, the bullseye in his eyes, and he can't hit the target. Just an absolute springing pass to cut through the lines. Bulma unable to provide the final products and make it 2 goals on the skip. It's back to the tedious work of running touchline to touchline after the ball again for Houston Dynamo 2. Into the pivot, deposited into the center now. Dynamo get their takeaway. Overlaps there. Turned down by Joshua Bulma. Real tactical battle starting to take shape. Press engage, something triggering for Real Monarchs. As soon as that backward pass occurred, they were all over the ball. Crash down the touchline. It will run and run and run and stay on. Kirkfleet, hot on his heels, Houston Dynamo 2. Not sure if it was intended as a dummy, but it works out. And now there's space approaching forward. Real Monarchs, the flag stays down for now. And the Regent were Real Monarchs as they gave chase to that ball in behind. Ruben Males was the one that was in gear. Quarter hour gone and still scoreless. And a yank of the shirt and a blow of the whistle. Sebastian Rodriguez grabbing some cloth. And it's a dangerous set piece. That might be a cheap foul to give away. Without or in swing. Creamed in. It was Tricani that played the role of deliverer. It's his side in full retreat now, though. Blustering away and shuffling in. Maybe a little bit too much from Arzu. Males seeing much of the ball. You'll see Monarchs with fullbacks at times all the way at the touch lines to create the maximum space and surface to pass the ball around. Always in constant movement and chorus. Griffin Dillon. Farnsworth is the wide man. Interior is Owen Anderson. Sideline to sideline. And coast to coast. And a corner to come. A crowning of the keeper. It's a shapely delivery. It's kept by Real Monarchs. Anora was screaming in and caught too much of the man, taking not enough of the ball with him. Real Monarchs have completed 95% of their passes to this point in the game. Only 32 attempted at this stage by Dynamo Dos. Dillon. Farnsworth. Paving a pass into the center, unable to make it stick there. Perea could not gain purchase. Out for another throw-in. Farnsworth. Stumbling down was Anderson. Breaking away are Dynamo Dos. A tangle and a yellow card. It belongs to Griffin Dillon, the first name scribbled by Gerald Flores.
Yellow card caution.
Not much question about this. Just grab the wrist and tucked. That's probably a savvy foul, but on a yellow card for the rest of the game, that's going to take a lot of discipline from Dylan. You hear the echoing voices of coaches calling out instruction. It's been a tactical clash of the highest order, and Dynamo dart into the box. The shot is blocked. The play was dead already. Offside is the word. For all the pretty patterns and passing that have taken place so far, it's Dynamo that have delivered the most punch in the final third, and I think that's the idea. It just is going to require an insane amount of discipline not to slip up defensively. It is something Marcelo Santos, though, was quick to exhibit his pride for how solid his group has been defending their own net. Another crashing collision, another whistle. Dynamo player not allowed the room to turn. Looks like the card will stay in the pocket, words sufficing for Gerald Flores, communicating the lay of the land. It would take a high-quality bit of service to raise some havoc here, but well within the realm of possibility. Taken down by Barrett. Now it's Rodriguez. Bulma. Barrett senses the space and strikes out into it. A heavy touch. And now with Owen Anderson. Monarchs unable to flip the points. This portion of the match is brought to you by Zions Bank, the official bank of Real Monarchs. Nothing to deposit to date, though, from either side, 0-0. And for Dynamo, too, they've already had to make one injury-related change. Hopefully, Exxon Arzu is able to continue as he was the one substituted into the game. Through a shoulder, that's totally allowed. But then absorbed the contact and was fallen upon. Clean work on the ball. It was O'Gara who had that tidy first touch. He sets his team in motion again. Miles. Farnsworth. Now to the wide side. O'Gara. And Farnsworth again. Everything 1 and 2 touches for Real Monarchs. Having enough of that. Mosanora. Heavy punch off the chest. Slammed sideways and into no one in particular. A couple hops between the long shadows and out for a throw. Owned once more by Real Monarchs. "90 degrees as it stands with a high of 94 today. We can expect a hydration break at some point. Just to underscore the taxation the running and chasing Dynamo have been tasked to do, will have over the course of the game. In circulation once more. Kirkfleet. Navigating through the tight spaces. Nudge straight into the grip of Dynamo Dos. Cut off in mid-park. Marquez was fiddling away. Wes Sharpie has sharply played it wide. And hit hard into the foot of Owen Anderson. And pinched back by Dynamo Dos. Another foul to stop the break. And that's becoming a trend. You would imagine the referee sets the tone here. It is another yellow card, this time to MLS. And the entire left side of defense for Monarchs will sit on a booking for the majority of this match. That time maybe a little bit less necessary.
Real Monarchs, number 77, Ruben Macias.
A crushing collision. Clean and tidy work on the ball. Covering a little bit more ground on that last pass, and it does stray into the gloves of Pedro Cruz. Triggered upon. Monarchs on approach. Back post ball, and over carries out of play. Good look at a burgeoning move and how quickly Real Monarchs can get in gear. All the way back to the goalkeeper. Oh, it's a bad giveaway. Bulma's onto it. Bulma's in. Holds up with the ball. Bodies back behind it. Shots ripped at target. And plowed wide to Viveros. And it goes sailing. Dynamo were on the front foot quickly. They cannot cash in. Possession belongs back to Real Monarchs after the referee has seen something impermissible. Marcellus. Dylan. Ball hit a wall in mid-park. A sticky touch to contain it from Guito. And Barrett. And all the way back to Pedro Cruz. He's been rock steady in goal this year, 42 saves entering the contest tonight. Player that his manager Marcelo Santos spotlighted as an absolute example of what a leader for this club should look like. Set up well, he might have to defend his goal here. Just about cleaned up. Half an hour gone. Dynamo Dos have hardly touched the ball. They're trying to make use of what they have had right here. All the way back to the goalkeeper again, Kirk Fleet, who's calm under pressure. It was Honora who was trying to obscure the view. Slightly slack though on that ball, splitting the channels. Sebastian Rodriguez looking up, looking wide. And that belongs to Griffin Dillon. Reclaimed property. Gerald Flores is doing his best to simmer things down. A Real Monarchs player was upset, saying that that should have been a yellow card. We see that tack taken very often in the modern game. Players have wisened up to the fact that it has to be, in most instances, an instant yellow if the restart of play is interfered with by the opposition. So, free kick taker might just take one straight into an opponent player. Appreciate the fact that Gerald Flores was not willing to show a yellow in that situation. Not exactly in the spirit of the rule that. Marquez. Owen Anderson probing. He's punished. It's a foul. Viveros went in stiffly, and straight along it goes. Cut in! And it's clapped by the gloves of Pedro Cruz. Bit biteless from a red-hot player in Boreas, who found himself uncontested and may have taken a touch off of Wolf. This portion of the match is presented by Intermountain Health, the power of we. It certainly fits the billing for how Real Monarchs choose to play the game. As that tumbles out of touch. It's a skipping ball into the corner. Fighting hard yet again, Honora. And he is less than content with the ruling. He's been starving to get involved in the game. Has not relented in his effort. Something to be applauded. And at a certain stage, anybody would start to fray a little bit in terms of their nerve, realistically. In that situation, has to run and run and run and never see a reward. Rodriguez holding the baton in midfield. Wolf. Rodriguez just trying to carve a yard to get forward. He cannot. And it's forced to flow back to Pedro Cruz. To the wide side. That was always going to draw the ire of the official. It looked a bit of an ugly tackle. It was Hezrakani, who's struggled to really get on the ball much in this game so far, who found himself stretched out. Just poked it beyond the defender as the tackle was put in.
Yellow card, caution, Houston, number 20, Gavin Wolf.
Hezrakani with 4 goals and an assist this year. Wakutuya, the one who gets his name taken. Ball in behind.
Correction, yellow card to number 28, Isaac Makwatua.
Faint breeze blowing. Is there a point of difference ahead of halftime? What a scenic vista it is behind this stadium backdrop. That's a good ball. Cruz was called into action to intervene. And then throws a bounce pass ahead. Clever from the goalkeeper. Bulma zigging and zagging and zapping a ball wide. It needed to happen for Real Monarchs, but Dynamo have not let go of the issue. Viveros sliding to the end line. Nicked on, thundered over the target. Enough defensive congestion to put Dynamo Dos off at the pivotal moment of inquiry. Viveros doing so well to find himself free. Always a risk when you go to ground as a defender. Viveros just winning out his marker. Nothing more, though, than a spike of the heart rate for Mark Lowry and a goal kick.
Jared DeThor, could you shade me just a little darker?
That's well spotted from the goalkeeper. Watching on Real Monarchs. Just loaning the ball to one another and then firing in behind. On approach, the cut back. It's cut out. Not all the way done away with, though. The counter pressure comes good. Dynamo Dos don't really have their defensive shape yet. And knocked off course, helped out for a corner. Heavy breathing approaching halftime. Pedro Santos is struggling. Not sure if he's trying to sort out some equipment or if he's taking a bit of a knock. I should say Pedro Cruz. bring the trainers on. Again, Dynamo Dos have already made one change in this half due to injury. Again, it was 90 degrees at kickoff here. Goalkeeper not necessarily called into much motion until the moment they are, and he got out of the gate quickly and immediately reached for the leg. And also is important to note that although Dynamo might be used to some of the conditions in terms of the temperature, maybe not the altitude, sitting high above sea level here just outside of Salt Lake City. Goalkeeper is back to his feet. Everybody gets to take a swig of water in the pause of play. This portion of the match is presented by America First, the official credit union of Real Salt Lake. America First has game-changing solutions for every financial need, so join the winning team today at americafirst.com. 5 minutes from the end of the first half. Could imagine there's going to be at least 2 minutes added on for stoppage time for that injury just at the beginning of the contest. Flying in formation, Real Monarchs. Can't cut through. Lone man in pursuit is Arzu. Not taking any chances with transition, Real Monarchs. One side have imposed their style of play on the game. Marquez had high hopes of weaving beyond the last line of defense, but has come to a crashing halt. Goalkeeper's up. It matters not. The flag is up as well. Monarchs have had just over 60% possession as we approach halftime. Spinning and twisting. It's Perea who is dropping the line. Player given the freedom to find the game wherever it may be from that technical striker position, but in reality, players will take turns inhabiting that role. Perea able to regain possession of it. Anderson sticks with it. Perea spraying wide. Marquez has Ricani. And a runner oncoming. Foul has been awarded. The referee might be asked to examine the amounts of fouls that have taken place in instances like that. Weighed against what he deems to be persistent infringement. Does not look like a yellow card will be shown here, though. That was Anor, who was once more in hot pursuit. Owen Anderson. Chipping touch, and well taken. Viveros, touch of class. Now Sebastian Rodriguez, a scoping ball in behind and met just at the edge of the box. Once more, it's Max Kirkfleet. The sun setting during the halftime intermission should help things a little bit. The game is cooked off at this point. Intensity dropping just a touch. Monarchs looking to do something about that, though. It was always going to be a little bit misguided, although you applaud the ambition to go for it. Zachary Farnsworth, that is that freedom of expression that Mark Lowry has been talking about. Players having the license to bet on themselves in certain instances, take that chance, make that risk. Dynamo doing a great job of staying resolute, providing that box defense, making themselves hard to dissolve in the final action. Screaming down the left, though. Real Monarchs shot from range is blocked. It was Anderson eyeing the target. Waiting on the board to go up. The calculations being made. Michael O'Reilly calibrating. Oh, that's smooth. Farnsworth. Punched wide again. Back post ball is met with not nearly enough conviction. As Rakani had it just jump up on him. It was well placed. Coming off the foot of Marcellus. Bit unnecessary with the strength of tackle from Omar Marquez. 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Of 3 minutes will be added to the half.
Nothing to write home about today. Only 6 total shots. Only 1 on target. That's provided in this instance by Real Monarchs. Dynamo have really manufactured the better chances. They've just maybe blinked in the final moment. Monarchs have outpassed them by a factor of 2-1. Marquez. Again, Real Monarchs have completed 95% of their passes so far, but right on cue, one that does not meet its mark. As Rakani was racing down the flank. Dynamo Dos players down. Darted in over the top on a long run as Viveros. Snipped away at the back. Foul given. Daniel Barrett. All bodies to the back post, queuing ahead of this free kick. Could be the last meaningful moment of the first half for Monarchs. Tall ball, and tilting tall, in fact. It was a solid swing of the leg from Griffin Dillon to place it right in that indecisive triangle for the goalkeeper. Helped along in the mid-park. Maybe one last go for Real Monarchs, but they've got to go towards goal now. Farnsworth. Farnsworth still. Sneaking infield, Anderson. What a ball, and just pulling up. It was sitting right there. Berea unable to catch up, and that closes the half. A sweeping end-to-end move from Monarchs. Misses at the end. Like the oncoming runner just dropped his head thinking the ball wasn't coming to him. He was about to be offside, and then it just rolled right by his feet. But so goes the half, and scoreless at the intermission. As we step aside, much more halftime content coming your way from Utah. Real Monarchs, Houston Dynamo 2, scoreless at intermission.
Action.
Este verano, el centro del fútbol mundial está aquí. Los mejores del mundo. El deporte mundial en tu propio rincón. 4 grandes eventos. Un verano como ningún otro. Para aprender más, visite mlssoccer.com/summer.
And the summer of soccer rolls on here in Utah, where it sits scoreless between Real Monarchs and Houston Dynamo 2. We'll take a look at our busy upcoming schedule here in a moment. But first, April Marie Aguilar checks in from the Pacific Northwest with this week's edition of The Report.
Third. Short corner, and it's in! Lifts the ball into the box. Joyner again!
With a high angle to the back post, knocked on. Adimoboa!
We're coming to you from the Evergreen stage, where the home team is in a closely contested race to make the playoffs after having made the Western Conference semifinals the last 2 years. Welcome to the latest edition of The Report. I'm April Marie Aguilar. When the Seattle Sounders FC2 rebranded in 2019, the name Tacoma Defiance was the top choice in a public poll. Named after Point Defiance Park, the crest features a stylized ship based on the USS Point Defiance and the tentacles of a giant Pacific octopus. Both the name and the logo make reference to Tacoma's identity, maritime roots, and sense of civic pride. And on the pitch, Tacoma Defiance has something to be proud of this season, with 2 of the leading goal scorers in MLS NEXT Pro. Ozaze de Rosario got his 2025 season off to a hot start, scoring in each of Tacoma's first 5 games and leading the league with 8 goals through April. And in May, as de Rosario began playing for Seattle Sounders FC, his teammate Yu Sukanome surpassed him, scoring 4 goals, including a brace against Ventura County FC, and moving up to second in the league with 9 goals through the end of the month.
はい、僕はあんまりそのサゼとゴールデンブーツを争っているっていう感覚はなくて、僕はチームが勝つためにサッカーをしているので、サゼのこともたくさん見ているし、僕とサゼの関係はすごくいい関係だとお互いは思っていると思いますし、はい、すごくやりやすい関係でいてます。
Could we be seeing the highest scoring pair of teammates in league history? As of the end of May, Sukanome and De Rosario have combined for 17 goals. They're on pace to surpass Remy Cabral and Yosuke Hanya, who combined for 32 for Colorado Rapids 2 in 2023. You can watch our full conversation with Yu Sukanome in the latest edition of Player Profile, coming soon to MLSnextPro.com and MLS Next Pro's YouTube channel. Speaking of goals, up next, we've got something that up until May, only 4 players in MLS Next Pro history had ever accomplished. On July 2nd, 2022, Rauf Salifu of Sporting KC2 scored all 4 goals in his team's win against North Texas SC, making him the first player in league history with 4 in one game. Just over a week later, John Dennis of NYC FC2 became the second player with the haul against New England Revolution 2. Then there was Jason Russell Rowe. He clinched the Golden Boot in 2022, scoring 4 in the season finale. Then in April 2024, Roald Mitchell had 4 for New York Red Bulls 2, all in the first half. And that brings us to this year, May 23rd, a memorable night for Mekhi Joyner. Joyner led the way for St. Louis City 2, scoring 3 of his 4 goals in the second half of a 6-3 win over Portland Timbers 2. Joyner has been the focal point of City 2's attack this season, and this haul gave him 8 goals through match week 11, tied with Osaze de Rosario for 3rd in the league at the time.
It was super special to me. This is my first time with this club. We get 4 goals, so it was just really surreal and just awesome. An amazing feeling. I'm glad to be the first, and honestly, I couldn't thank my team enough as well because they push me every day, so props in as well.
Joyner became the first player in City history with a 4-goal game at any level. Along with the brace the week before, he's the second player in league history with 6 goals in a 2-game span. Papa Ndoye of Houston Dynamo those had back-to-back hat tricks in 2023. And by scoring the last 3 of his 4 goals in a 12-minute span, Joyner has the second fastest hat trick in league history. And Joyner made even more history in May. We mentioned the brace in match week 10. His first goal in that game turned out to be the 4,000th goal score in MLS Next Pro history on a penalty kick in the 22nd minute.
And they've done it in consecutive years for the first time in that 30 years as well. And here they come with Arston, and he crosses in. It's Russell Rowe!
MLS Next Pro Star to MLS Next Pro Star to MLS Next Pro Star, and with that, the game is over. Sensational from the Columbus crew.
You knew it was going to happen at some point. 3 MLS Next Pro alumni factoring in on the same goal in Major League Soccer. As the Columbus crew defeat Charlotte FC, here are some of the best of some more former Next Pro players in MLS. May 10th, Philadelphia Union and Columbus Crew. Frankie Westfield with the rocket into the back of the net. His first career MLS goal nearly taking the roof off of the net, with the match ending in a draw. Houston Dynamo and Seattle Sounders. Jack Micklin with a lovely delivery with that wand of a left foot. Headed in by Femi Awodesu. That's his first MLS goal as well, and it's the equalizer in a game the Dynamo would lose. FC Cincinnati and Austin FC. 76th minute. Evander plays a peach of a ball. Gerardo Valenzuela with the one-touch finish from close range, his second game-winning goal of the season, just minutes after he subbed into the game. New York Red Bulls and Charlotte FC. Carmona with the cross. Mohamed Sofu with the flick at the near post. Sofo scores for the 3rd straight game across all competitions. Red Bulls win at home. A number of MLS Next Pro alumni are all on the ballot for the 2025 Major League Soccer All-Star Game. You can cast your vote on MLSsoccer.com. Voting is open through June 11th. And we'd like to remind you that Goalie Wars will be back in 2025. Goalie Wars is part of MLS All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T. Now here are the top goals for the month of May.
It's back to Ramirez. Back to his right foot. He's at the end line. Sweeping clearance. Booming shot. It's in the back of the net. How about that strike? From about 22 yards away. Standing on his left foot. Colin Welsh getting the start in goal today for St. Louis City 2. His 5th start of 2025 for the rookie out of Western Michigan.
Hernandez has a hit from distance. Are you serious? Saw the keeper off his line. Welsh hovering around the top of the 18.
The go-ahead has been given. What do Timbers 2 do here? Here's the shot. Oh! He's done it again! Set piece specialist Alex Moreno. That is stunning.
Joyner shoots. Whoa! Makai Joyner is out of his mind. Off this first ball, Joyner takes one touch, and with Burns off his line, that's just enough space for a spectacular shot.
Elsewhere in the league, Chattanooga FC stays on top of the weekly MLS Next Pro Power Rankings. They've held down the #1 spot since April 16th after the end of match week 5. The boys in blue are well on their way to the franchise's first MLS Next Pro Cup playoff appearance in its 2nd season in the league. And congratulations to St. Louis City 2 for setting a new MLS Next Pro attendance record. Over 12,000 attendees on hand to see them defeat Houston Dynamo 2. City 2 breaks their own record, set last October. That does it for this edition of The Report. Make sure to tune in to each episode for the latest around MLS Next Pro.
The youngest MLS debutant, Kevin Sullivan. Luna. Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
Action.
Back for the break and still looking for the break. Real Monarchs and Houston Dynamo 2 engaged here at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman, Utah. The highlights from that first half of play, and really not a lot to report. Houston Dynamo 2 were able to manufacture a couple of half chances. Really should have made more of a few of them, as this would be Joshua Bolma getting a sight of goal, unable to punch through as he hits it over the target. Later on, a ball shelled in at the near stick here to the camera. Unable to put head to it, though. The oncoming runner from Real Monarchs later on in the frame. Masales would find the feet of a friend, but Berea could not punch through. Dynamo Dos did not see much of the ball in the first half, but one of their chances to get forward. Juan Viveros spotting a man in the center. The final product was elusive again, as Arzu took a swing at it. Now late on, this is in the final stages of the first frame, and it bounced up right onto Hezrakani. Just unfortunate for him that the wicked hop carried straight into his shin pad, and this would be the last action of the first half. A high header over the frame and only the one shot on target To date, 9 total attempts between the teams, dominating the possession. Real Monarchs, but unable to really have that sharp end in the final third. 3 corners for Real Monarchs as well. The foul starting to climb up. Houston Dynamo deals with 9 in the first half. As we look out to live pictures, sun starting to fade, and maybe that turns up the temperature on the game itself. Once more, Peyton Gallagher along for the ride. 2 teams that entered today off opposite results. In the midweek, it was a big win over Tacoma Defiance for Real Monarchs to continue their streak of success. 3 games unbeaten in the league, with a draw in between that they lost on penalties to Ventura. As for Dynamo Dos, worst loss that they've taken since August of last year at the hands of Minnesota United. 4-1 in the midweek was the final score there. Both teams rotated to some degree from those respective contests. Just looking for the pointy bit. Monarchs in the moment. They've never beaten Dynamo Dos. As this is swung in.
Hey Jared, they're saying it looks very flat.
Slapped
and,
out.
Kind of blue and need to warm it up a bit.
In the meantime, Brian Sandoval has come on for Hezrakani. Try and add some dimension down this right-hand side. The veteran Wes Sharpie. Just on the note of Wes Sharpie, he provides something of a father figure for this team at his age. We wish everybody at home a happy Father's Day. Is left of it at least.
For the Real Monarchs, leaving the match, number 39, Aiden Hezrakani. Entering the
One of the
match
best
for the
things in
Monarchs,
this game
number
is the way it can be
87,
handed down through
Brian
generations,
Sandoval.
be a point of bonding between father and son, and just would like to call some attention to that as the ball is worked across midfield. Whipping away, Real Monarchs. Wes Sharpie. Sandoval. And dug away. Noah Bentoncourt appears to have come into the match for Dynamo Dos as well, as he was involved in that tackle. Both teams managing the minutes with the strain of the season starting to weigh a bit. Slipped in. Barea. Centrally, Marquez. Turns away from his marker. On the front foot. Sandoval with skill. Snapped up by Dynamo Dos. Shuffled back in motion. In behind. And up to come and claim is Pedro Cruz. A crushing claim on the ball. And taking aim from distance and straight into the goalkeeper, Pedro Cruz. And it falls nicely for Anor. A swivel of the hips, a slide wide. Arzu, still Arzu, chopped in! Impact for Dynamo Dos. Joshua Bulma. Back-to-back games with goals for him, and it's 1-0.
Houston Dynamo Josh Bulma.
Bulma barrels in on the back of a save and bit of distribution from Pedro Cruz. Real Monarchs were short-handed defensively, late to get back. Enough pace to blur by Wes Sharpie from Arzu. And snapped up by Bulma, uncontested in the goal mouth. And we'll see how that calls Real Monarchs out of their shells. They've been relatively untroubled in terms of shots on target for the game. But Dynamo Dos do make good given the opportunity. There's another Dynamo Dos player down as Arzu is running again. This time he runs into stiffer defending. Sloshing to the wide space. Thumping wide. Monarchs playing the chaser. That was a speculative ball. Certainly would have raised an eyebrow from the Dynamo defense as it was fizzed into a very dangerous area. Great work from Sandoval. If you're just now rejoining, Josh Bulma is the point of difference straight away into the second half. As this ball is played short and all over it are Dynamo Dos. That was a harsh tackle. The referee's going to come over. Masalas and Dillon were those booked in the first half. For Real Monarchs, that was not the man going in for the tackle there, as Owen Anderson was the one chasing in. Thudding onto the chest. Quickly worked away. Monarchs trying to put the wind at their back. That's a slippery pass in behind. It'll sit up for Marquez. Regaining it, Real Monarchs. Careening and carving. Once more, it's belted back. It's again the box defending of Dynamo Dos. They've looked a bit transparent at times defensively as Monarchs have played through them up until the point that they arrive at the box, and that's when Dynamo put their heels in. Swooping in, well met by Bentoncourt. I should say, for the interest in respect to Bentoncourt, was on the field actually for the first half, just didn't have much to do. Being asked to do more right now. A classy back heel. It was Overlapping run from Wes Sharpie that opened things up, but now his spot is vacated in defense. And with speed, it's Arzu. And still him. And finally, a long touch that wriggles away. Dylan dashing one in behind. Anderson. Great sliding tackle to take it out of harm's way. Daniel Barrett, the one who dove in. Always sturdy and dependable for Dynamo Dos. Daniel Barrett, the youngster. Fresh out of the academy. Swerving into the box. It comes across the goal mouth. Goalkeeper may have put it onto the post. Didn't look like much was on from that angle. Luckily for Dynamo Dos, nobody home. Alive to the chance at the back stick. Pushed into Marquez, nudged out of touch. Once more, powered into the area. Sharpie again, occupying that wide back role. Scraped away. Looks like a change is being prepared by Marcelo Santos. Just by the look of things, Thomas Romero is the one who's put the match shirt on. Kirkfleet splits a line with his first pass, and Real Monarchs get moving. See how much Houston Dynamo 2 start to retreat as the game draws on and on. Flags down, and now it pops up. A chance to look back at exactly how close Monarchs actually got. Ball was just never stopped, and it went straight onto the woodwork and caromed out. Would have been insane to score from that tight of an angle. But it was realistically within touching distance at the touch line. As much as you can call the end line the touch line. Just made sense for the play on words. But not playing around, Real Monarchs. Sandoval. On the right hand and on the far side. What a ball. And it's met at the near post. Another biteless effort from close range. Berea has not brought the same shooting boots that he had in the midweek. Did so well to just turn himself free. Used the ball almost to continue his momentum wide and away from the marker. This play is stopped again. A chance maybe to make that change. Marcelo Santos, one of the leaders of the group coming in. Thomas Romero. I beg your pardon, it's not Romero.
Substitution in the 59th minute.
Enrique Correa
Leaving the match for
is the one injected.
Number 44, Lionel Guitao. Entering the match, number 40, Enrique Correa.
So Correa comes on. A big moment for him and a chance to change up the game. An hour in. Joshua Bulma is the one who burst through and put his side a nose in front. An all-important 3 points available for Dynamo Dos. Bulma again. Bulma is blocked. And that's waved off by the official. Bulma went to ground rather easy there. You be the judge. It looked as if Bulma was starting to maybe fall over before the contact came, but there was contact. Keeping a cool head under pressure there. As Giovanni Calderon kept the ball, Real Monarchs, his side burst away to the attacking end. Sharpie digging in. Sebastian Rodriguez. Back on the ball, Rodriguez. And Correa. Creamy, smooth wide. Arzu. Into zone 14, the top of the box. And tagged away, but the flag was up. There's offside starting to pile a bit for Dynamo Dos. Real Monarchs still in need of inspiration. We'll see how Mark Lowry manages the rest of the game, if he does look to the dugout at some point. Already taking Hezrakani out of the match. That's a well-plated pass. Man in behind! Marvelous save! Pedro Cruz bars the door. Again, it was Barea who was in behind, played onside by the wide side defender. And he will be certain to be kicking himself after not cashing that in. He still is, look at him. As play is paused again. And a change is being made. Usman Toure will replace Griffin Dillon in the mid-park. Big body that will help Real Monarchs control that all-important battlegrounds.
Monarchs substitution in the 63rd minute. Leaving the match, number 81, Griffin Dillon.
Another ball into the area. Falls for Arzu. Pass in had shape. Just needed to be on a more precise heading. Shifting through the gears. A direct approach from Real Monarchs. Drawing closer again. Ripped at goal, it's blocked. Sandoval. Moved in. Toure was up for it again. And that's what the frame poses as a problem for Dynamo Dos. Toure coming in a higher position, and he will be the target in those central areas, partnering. It looks like Barea for the duration. This portion of the match is brought to you by Zions Bank, the official bank of Real Monarchs. That's a sharp pass. Anderson works free. Wonderful close control, and he's upended by Bentoncourt. Again, quickly they go, Real Monarchs. Pushing up, you would imagine, towards 400 passes at this point. On track to eclipse that mark, currently at 330. Dynamo Dos have attempted 130 over the course of the hour plus that have transpired. Yet they find themselves with a goal as their opposition see a goose egg on the scoreboard. Marquez was pressured. Turned to the official to see what gives, and there will be a foul called there. It's on Enrique Correa. The captain Sharpie, again existing entirely on the wide side. With this near touchline in the attack that nearly proved a costly pass, it still could. Over the top again from Rodriguez. Another man has dropped to the backside here. It looks like Arzu, who was a substitute that practically was a starter, asked to come on 3 minutes into the game. So in the 67th minute of play, Arzu requiring medical attention. It was his pass that opened the game up. Since it's been some lovely goalkeeping from Pedro Cruz that has kept his team a goal to the good. Arzu, the Colombian midfielder, double-digit appearances for him this year. Part of a promising young crop of players brought into this Dynamo Dos program. Dynamo Dos, who have been winless in their last 6 games, despite the fact that they have won the shootout in a couple of those. Currently straining to try and obtain all 3 points here on the road today against a side that's never beaten them in Real Monarchs. In fact, they've never even gotten the draw off them. Some questions as to whether or not Arzu can continue here. And a pair of changes being prepared. Jaden Puna will come on, a sturdy defensive force. As well, Mateo De Morale. So that should shore things up, and Houston state their intents to solidify and see this out. Boma, the goal scorer, is the other one that's given the hook. So the 2 players that played the largest part in getting the goal come off and make way for teammates to help defend it. Might be the longest spell of possession we've seen from Dynamo Dos this entire half.
Leading the match, number 45, Jaden Puna.
It's a clever ball. Puna has jumped offside.
Leading the match, number 14, Josh Boyna. Entering the match, number 45, Jaden Puna.
Curious about Puna's deployment here. role he might occupy.
Number 7, Essen Arzu.
As he tracks back to his own ends.
Number 33, Matteo Di Morelli.
Puna's up and pressing. Pumping passes about Real Monarchs, but it gets away from Marquez. Smashed in behind. Kirkfleet hasn't had much to do in goal. Trying to twist free Real Monarchs. This portion of the match is presented by Intermountain Health, the power of weight. It will take an all-hands-on-deck effort if Real Monarchs are to still salvage something with 20 minutes from the end of the line. Lurched wide from Correa. Puna, again a more customarily deployed center option at the back. Can play on the outside of that back three as well at times, but this has to be the highest elevation we've seen from him in recent weeks. A sign of how Dynamo will adapt to meet the particular challenge that they face. Playing a wide center back in a defensive capacity there at the front of the attack to maybe disrupt things a little bit further from goal. Honestly, pretty clever from Marcelo Santos. Certainly gives you a bigger target to play off of if you do want to go directly like this as well. A gap found at the back, quickly closed. Chance to review the goal here momentarily. As for now, the ball is back in play. Real Monarchs with urgency. Sharpie. Shuffled away. A resting tackle is put in. Wonderful work in defense from the striker Honora. Unfortunately for his side, that means nobody's up there to receive the ball. It is grab hold tight time for Dynamo Dos. Owen Anderson met by two defenders as Anderson loses his footing. He's arguing that was caused by the defender. It's an argument that is not a winning one. Sun dropping behind the peaks here just outside of Salt Lake City. Toure. Back into Cruz, who dices with danger. It's a good bet on himself, though. Unfortunately intercepted on the Dynamo persuasion. Sharpie. Wakatuya able to provide that cover. It's a quarter hour left in it. Last show in town, and this particular vintage of match week in MLS Next Pro. Two teams scrapping for position in a hotly contested Western Conference. Zipped into the center. All bodies of outfield players in blue in the attacking half now. Betancourt with a heady challenge. As it sits with the live table, Dynamo Dos currently in 6th place in the West, but in a tightly congested pack and only a couple results away realistically from being much further up the table. As the studs were left up there, play was summoned back.
Yellow card caution, Real Monarchs, number 40, Omar Marquez.
Marquez, one who is cautioned. A duck and a dive. And turned out of play. Another change from Mark Lowry. This time it is Maximus Jennings. As Marquez, the last thing he will do is see his name taken today. See where Jennings offers up his particular skill set.
77th minute. Leaving the match, number 40, Omar Marquez.
Marquez was playing at the base of midfield.
Number 52, Maximus Jennings.
Shuttling role is less important at this stage. Dynamo Dos unable to change the equation past this point. Now Monarchs making one more change there. On a run, on a real run. And dispossessed. Owen Anderson had attacking intent of the highest degree. It spins back. Maximus Jennings straight into it. Anderson wide. Toure. What a tackle from Betancourt. And even better to set his side off to the races from Puna, who pushes ahead as Dynamo Dos do in tandem. Stepping over at the end line and overbaked on the service. This portion of the match is presented by America First, the official credit union of Real Salt Lake. America First has game-changing solutions for every financial need, so join the winning team today. AmericaFirst.com. It's been an exhaustive evening here in Salt Lake City, where it sits 1-0. Houston Dynamo put themselves in position for all 3 points. Snapped up by Correa. Puna. And Correa. Man in the middle. It's just about met. Puna puts a head in. Unable to get full purchase. Dynamo Dos a little bit bent out of shape. Toure lets it run. Betancourt back in front. Bodies back in force for Dynamo Dos. Toure on himself at the back post. My goodness, it's just slipped away from Maximus Jennings. How many of these chances have set up for Real Monarchs today? At the end, Pedro Cruz doesn't even have to do much, just scoops it up. Easily could have been 1-1.
Yellow card caution.
Sliding tackle there.
Real Monarchs, number
That caught the
30,
attention of the official.
Anderson.
When Anderson sees the colors. How to make best use of this. A swerving delivery, stepped away with relative ease. Oh, a shifty shake. Rodriguez. Puna. Still Puna. It sits up. But the flag was always going to pop up as well. Play is halted again. Well, this will serve Dynamo Dos a little bit of recuperative rest in the halting of the contest. And into the 82nd minute. Not quite sure what stopped things. There was a foul in the procession of that build-up. It renders the free kick for Dynamo Dos, who find the feet of Puna, and now Corral. Dynamo Dos would love to hold the possession in the attacking half. Further away from their goal, the better. Flicked on. Correa. Maybe just a nibble taken out of it on its flight. And it is hammered to the other ends. It was always going to take spectacular control to bring that in. Skipped into the box, aimed at Toure. Tamed and cleared by Corral. Roped in and roped along. Bending run in towards the box. And great tandem defending as Viveros stepped up and swatted it back. An easy interception for Bentoncourt. Monarchs look labored. Honor is certainly offside. Playing on the shoulder of the last man is always a game of chance. Honor many times has made it pay off. Not in that instance. Marching from the middle, Real Monarchs. Wes Sharpie. Lurched in behind. Cleaning up at the back. It's not gone. Now it is. Daniel Barrett's heart must have stopped there as the ball just stuck to the pitch. Oh, that's cheeky. In by Sharpie. All of a sudden, some groove in the step of Real Monarchs. Anderson moved along. Thought about the overhead, got caught in two minds. That's a well-steeped pass as Berea spotted some space. Monarchs still with it. Thoughts of a cross. Better thoughts of a shorter option. And Monarchs make their move in. Fumbled away for a second by the goalkeeper Cruz. But he did just enough to absorb some of the sting and fall on top of the loose one. And here are the chances from Real Monarchs. Did you see this intervention from Daniel Barrett? It's a great first tackle. Just stuck up there inside the penalty area. And then it's Pedro Cruz coming to collect. A slow walk up towards the midline stripe. And across the equator now. Sharpie. A back heel. Just rondoing about Real Monarchs. And popped from the ball is Owen Anderson. There is grass and there is room. Wakatuya, spare man to his right. High and handsome. 87th minute. Stoppage time quickly approaching. It's becoming rather desperate for Real Monarchs. This is a side that score for fun. They have been shut out largely because of the heroics of Pedro Cruz at times and their own faulty finishing. Owen Anderson. Oh, it just hit straight into the face of Toure. Off his own deflection, and when it's not your night, it's not your night. Hopefully he's okay. It's just a bruised ego. This was served in with real venom. Toure cut across the face of the defender. Nobody called man on. Did really well to arrive in a dangerous spot. And the ball just skipped up straight into the wrong place, so he hit it into his own chin. It's been a house of horrors, just bad bounces in the box from Real Monarchs. Think back to that Hezrakani chance in the first half, and really it's been a long-lasting reel of those kind of moments. Beaming wide. Going early with the cross. Well met. Sharpie met by Puna. A switch of points. A wonderful steadying touch. Room for the cross now. Back into the area. And it rolls and rolls and rolls and stays in and is finally clear. Noah doing so well to hold it up. Exhaust some of that time. Crashing wide now. All bodies in the box in blue. A strong header to meet it at the first blush. That's a smart pass into Sharpie. Does not have the wheels to arrive. Mark Lowry seems a little less than content with the risk taken playing that pass. Nearly beyond the 90. Only a single goal that sets apart Dynamo Dos, Real Monarchs. The word is 6. That's more than enough. And of course, for those so uninitiated, if it does get leveled before the expiration of the match, it's straight to penalties. A draw with an extra point on the line. Puna is late to arrive. Anderson whittling into the area. He's calling for handball. It is a penalty for Real Monarchs. A lifeline late. Owen Anderson sticking with it, sweeping by the first man to come and meet him. And they're going to say Bentoncourt left out an arm. Feels rather harsh. Didn't look like Bentoncourt's arm really left his side. Nonetheless, the ball is grabbed for a spot kick, and from 12 yards, looks like Jesus Barea will have the opportunity to draw his side even. One more chance to review things. Maybe it hit that left arm just inside the frame of the body. Would have been hard to tell. So, mano a mano, Pedro Cruz, Jesus Barea. Real Monarchs have crawled for an opportunity to seize even footing. Barea with 2 goals in the midweek. He must come good here for Real Monarchs. In stoppage time, Jesus Barea. Easy breezy. 1-1. They've not been able to conjure much in the way of chance creation since going behind by the goal. But in their moment of need, it is a clean connection. And just like that, charting a course for penalty kicks.
Monarchs, goal number 36, Noah Betancourt.
Held up. Honora was trying to get it right back in one kick of the leg. Sloping in behind. Real Monarchs want to settle the issue in the confines of the game itself. Toure, the ball in the China shop. Toure turning tail. Calvary on course. Bit of an aimless ball into the box from Owen Anderson, but he gets it back. Real Monarchs sense a chance. 2 minutes to cross the tape first. It was Barea who put them back on even terms. Hooking into the box. It bounces harmlessly. Dynamo Dos all of a sudden backs up against the wall. If Toure was waiting at the back stick, easily could have been 2-1. Pedro Cruz will now take his time. Given that the penalty occurred in stoppage time, you can expect a little bit extra beyond the 6 minutes allotted. Toure, still Toure, fighting off Correa. Correa last, does just enough to dislodge the ball. Wolf has given it right back though. Sharpie. Final actions here in Utah. Peeling wide. Sits up. It's struck. It's mishit. Going again, Real Monarchs. Back post ball. My word, what a save. Pedro Cruz provides a denying touch on what would have been a spectacular goal from Owen Anderson. A scissoring strike at point blank. And Pedro Cruz wins the war of will. It's a yellow card. That might be the last opportunity ahead of penalty kicks. They will get Barea with the booking.
Yellow card caution. Real Monarchs number 36, Noah Betancourt.
And it's not the whistles of expiration, that's just the center official telling the goalkeeper to back the ball up before booting this. It's likely the last go for Dynamo Dos. It's a hairy ball back. Unable to catch up. Nodded back to the goalkeeper who takes it off the chest for a bit of showmanship from Pedro Cruz. Snapped up. Dynamo Dos will get one more shot. Correa's pass is not puncturing. Hit from range, it's blocked. Now window the other way. Toure in acres of space. Betancourt doing his best to get back. Toure in. Still Toure's on the ground. Still Toure. Enclosed by Pedro Cruz, who puts an end to it. As to the game itself. Look at the distress that this game has caused, the cost physically. And it's a tie at the final bell. 1-1 and on to penalties. Much more to come. A quick explainer on how this will all shake out coming to you, and then the thrilling conclusion on the other side. 1-1 at the end of regulation here in Harriman.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
At the end of regulation, since the teams are tied on the scoreboard, the match will extend to a shootout, with each team having 5 attempts. If the teams are tied after 5 attempts, they will go to sudden death. The shootout winner will receive an extra point in the regular season standings.
So there are the exact stakes of what is being played for. An extra point in the shootout. They all count with some significance when tallying things, making the accounting at the end of the season for playoff seeding. 1-1 between Real Monarchs and Dynamo Dos. Monarchs continue the unbeaten run. It is just a technicality. It is still true. This one finishes a draw. Here is precisely how we arrived at this place. The goals from the game that was just inside the start of the second half. It would be the since revoked Exxon Arzu linking up with teammate Joshua Bolma to bully his way through on the doorstep, but late on, off the hand of Noah Bentoncourt. It would be a shout for a penalty buried by Jesus Perea, his fourth goal in 3 games. He keeps a steely nerve, and we'll see if he'll get a second chance straight away. Sometimes with penalties, you don't want a guy taking 2 in the same game. It becomes a little bit easier to read for a goalkeeper. Not all coaches subscribe to that theory, but it will be the known and loved world over penalty kick shootout. Best of 5 to start and then into sudden death, playing again for an extra point in the standings. Both teams will pocket at least one. Monarchs, the home side, will go first. Monarchs lost their most recent shootout. That was to Ventura County after a wild ride 3-3 draw. As for their opposition today, Dynamo Dos, they've seen themselves in the shootout quite a bit this year and have had much success winning the last 3 that they've been involved in. Those are the only 3 that they've seen in 2025. I guess you can make it 4 now. Beyond that, they have, Dynamo Dos this being, done so without having to score a 6th goal in any of them. As the teams make their way back to the field of play after what's been an exhausting game of soccer. It was 90 degrees at kickoff. This is technically the first result Real Monarchs have ever gotten off Dynamo Dos. They would love to make it 2 points and savor something extra. They had never even gotten a draw off of Dynamo Dos in the history of this linking. If there was a goalkeeper to bet on, it might be Pedro Cruz. He was in fine form, made a top shelf save to steer his side back into a position where they could claim something extra. Zachary Farnsworth will be the first taker for Mark Lowry. A long, long build up to this moment. So we will see Farnsworth first. Ahead of him is Pedro Cruz. He's had plenty of time to think of what he's going to do here. It'll be a longer run up from the top of the box. Farnsworth. Cruz got a touch, but enough power to punch through. Monarchs land the first blow. Farnsworth, a pump of the fist. Sebastian Rodriguez grabs the responsibility. Max Kirkfleet, who hardly had much to do during the course of the 90 minutes, will be his obstacle. Sets the ball squarely on the penalty marker. Sometimes we see players set it just at the edge, only has to be touching part of the spot. Oh, that's calm. That is so calm. Sebastian Rodriguez waited for the goalkeeper to declare and just passed it right down the middle. This has immense value, you would imagine, for the developmental path for these players taking these penalties, introduced to so much pressure at a young age. When asked to do this at senior level, will be much more seasoned. Barea, who scored the penalty to make it 1-1. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. And does so with emphasis. Cruz never had a chance. No goalkeeper would. At that height, at that pace, with that placement, virtually unstoppable. It's just a grin from Barea. Wakatuya sets it down as he likes. His side need him to level it again. Bouncing up and down is Kirkfleet. A winding run up. He sailed it. He sent it skyward. An advantage confirmed for Real Monarchs. Never a chance. It's always a danger when you try to go top shelf. All about risk and reward, knowing the goalkeeper is not going to be able to save it if you do connect with the back of the net, but the connecting with the back of the net part is the difficulty. Rian Sandoval steps up. Can really strike at the heart of the opposition. If he does fire true here. Cruz lying in wait. Oh, it's rung the woodwork. Not sure if Cruz got a touch. It squarely plastered the post. And no, the goalkeeper does not save it. So Betancourt, a chance to break back. It was his handball that rendered this opportunity for Real Monarchs. If he scores, it's even again. Has a thought, has a hit, puts it in the roof of the net. Talk about the risk reward. That's the reward part, the payoff. Hits heavy from Noah Betancourt, who just blares this. You hardly ever see them hit the top of the net before the back of the net. So it sits at 2-2. Can Cruz come clutch? Not there. Owen Anderson, an arrow. Long into the night we march. Anderson holding his nerve. He was the one who won the penalty that put us here. Heavy legs, heavy lungs. It's Anor. Kirkfleet went late. Anor posted in. Went for placement beyond power. And just bent it by the goalkeeper, who hesitated as the ball was hit. 3-3. And collected to be taken. O'Gara. That could not be more perfect. Really punched a bullseye hole in the top corner. And if the goalkeeper can make a save, it all comes up aces for Real Monarchs. Neither goalkeeper has been able to intervene yet. 2 misses, no saves. It sits 4-3. If it stays that way, it's an extra point for Real Monarchs. Juan Viveros ahead of Max Kirkvleet. It has to happen for Houston. How do you pull that in that moment? It's calm. I've never seen a penalty taken like that. It wasn't a true Panenka. It's just kind of a toe poke down the middle. And into sudden death territories. What else is there to say there? Masella steps up, strokes it home. 4 steps and bang. And once more it sits on the shoulders of Demorale. The added pressure of shooting second. Bouncing up and down is Kirk Flates. He's missed it. Real Monarchs trail the entire second half, but find a way to cross the line first in the shootout. Monarchs taste victory for the first time against Dynamo Dos and take home their extra points. Late in the night, they last the longest. The man of the match, none other than Jesus Perea, who continues his scoring tirade in MLS Next Pro with the penalty that proves pertinence. Also scored in the shootout with this one, the one that counts for the goals. It was in the 93rd minute. He kept a cool head. He kept his side breathing at the end of the line. As we set to step aside for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, of course, I've been Peyton Galler. Once again, our final score, decisive in penalties for Real Monarchs after a 1-1 final tally. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Folks, good night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.